Episode 9. The Night of Torches. The Zakarans' camp lay heavy in the valley. Tents like dunes, camels strewn like shadows. On the ridge above, 300 waited. Kael's hands were steady, but his stomach wasn't. The whisper came again. "If you are afraid, go down to the camp with Shimshon, your servant." He went. Crawling through scrub and stone, he and Shimshon stopped near the outer sentries. Two Zakaras spoke in the hush of changing watches. "I dreamed," one said. "A barley loaf tumbled into our camp and struck a tent, and it fell flat." His comrade answered, voice thin, "This can be nothing but the sword of Kael, son of Daran. The Almighty One has given Zakaras into his hand." Kael bowed there in the dust, and he worshipped the Almighty One, the Elohim of the Benara. He rose with sand on his knees and fire in his chest, returned to the ridge and said, "Rise up. The Almighty One has given the camp into our hand." He divided the 300 into 3 companies and placed a trumpet in every right hand, and in every left, a torch hidden inside an empty jar. "Watch me," he said. "When I reach the edge of the camp, do as I do. When I blow, you blow, all around the camp, and shout, 'A sword for the Almighty One and for Kael.'" It was the beginning of the middle watch, just after the guards had been posted. The night was most vulnerable right then. Men half awake, lines unsteady. Kael and the first company took position at the outskirts of the Zakaras camp. The other 2 fanned wide until the valley was encircled by quiet shapes and clay. He lifted the ram's horn. The blast tore through the darkness. Jars shattered. Torches flared like stars dropped to earth. 300 trumpets answered from every side, and the shout rolled down the slopes. "A sword for the Almighty One and for Kael." In the valley, tents vomited men into chaos. Camels screamed. The newly posted guards panicked, blades flashing at shadows and at each other. The Almighty One set every man's sword against his fellow. The great host broke like a clay jar, shards of armies blindly harming themselves. Malak stood in his place, torch in his left hand, trumpet in his right, heart hammering, feet planted. They did not rush the camp. They stood and held the line of light. Below, Zakaras ran frantically, toward the fords, toward the Jordan, away from the fire on the ridge. The pursuit would come with dawn. But for now, 300 lights burned where fear used to live. Join us next time for Episode 10. Shalom. Episode 10. Dawn broke over a valley littered with broken tents and fleeing shadows. The Zakaras, once countless as locusts, now scattered like chaff before the wind. 300 men stood on the ridges with torches still smoldering, trumpets still echoing in their chests. Their hands were empty of swords, but their eyes burned like fire. The pursuit had begun before the sun cleared the horizon. Word spread quickly. Ephraim had seized the fords of the Jordan. 2 princes of Zakara, Oreb and Zeb, were captured and struck down. Elements of the victory against Oreb and Zeb were brought as proof that what the Almighty One had begun in the night was no dream. The Zakara's might was undone, but not all were satisfied. Men from Ephraim stormed into Kael's camp, voices hot with pride and anger. "Why did you not call us sooner? Why should Benara have the first glory of battle?" The accusation rang sharp. For a moment, the spark of civil war threatened to undo the victory that had just been won. Kael did not lift his voice in anger. He did not reach for a weapon or horn. He answered softly, with a calm that stilled the crowd. "What have I done compared to you? Is not the gleaning of Ephraim's grapes better than the full harvest of Abiezer? Into your hands the Almighty gave Oreb and Zeb, the princes of Zakaras. What was I compared to you? Their anger cooled, their pride eased, and the embers of division died before they could ignite. That night, as the camp quieted and the men tended their torches, Malak sat apart, watching Kael. The boy who once hid in a winepress now walked through the ranks as one who carried more than his own strength. His words had stilled Ephraim. His horn had summoned tribes. His torch had broken an army. But it was not cunning or swordsmanship that had carried the day. It was obedience. It was surrender. It was faith. Kael stood on the ridge where the night had blazed with light, looking out at the wide plain. He still bore no crown. He had no throne, no fortress. But the people who once laughed at his hiding now spoke his name with respect. Kael, the mighty warrior. Not because of his arm, but because the Almighty One had called him, and he had answered. The desert wind moved over the plain, carrying away the last of the smoke. The land was not yet free. More battles would come. But something had shifted forever. Fear had broken, and in its place, a warrior had risen.